All right, everyone, I am back with another ENDMS training video. Today I will be talking about how to enter an employer or job for a student in ENDMS. So I've created a little tip sheet for this because it can be a kind of finicky task to do in the system. You can find the sheet in either the out of school model or alternative model folder. It would be in the follow-up folder. So it's the ENDMS job placement tips PDF sheet. And you're just going to open that, and it kind of talks through some specific details to pay attention to when you are entering this into the system. So definitely review that sheet if you are having trouble entering a job placement. To enter a job placement, you are going to go to the participant, click on their name, and then, well, there's actually two different ways you can do this. A lot of times you will have to enter this when you are entering follow-up contacts. It will force you, if you are entering a follow-up contact and you indicate that the participant is working, it will force you to enter their job information. That could be one way. You can also do it this way, which is in the Jobs tab. So that's how I'm going to start, just for the sake of this, since this video is not talking about follow-up contacts. So you'll enter the start date. This can just be a general date of when they started the job. These are just kind of, they're not necessary to check. You enter the job title. So in this case, just what specifically the student is doing. So I've done this one before, so I'm going to say store manager. As the tip sheet explains, for both of these here, you do not want to enter any kind of any type of like $ or any other punctuation is the word I'm looking for after the digits. You only want to enter the digits to indicate the wage and the hours per week. Otherwise, you will get an error message. So just put in the wage. So in this case, we'll say I'm earning $11 an hour. You could say however many hours a week that they're working. But you do not want to put something in like this, 40 per week. You don't do that. You do not, you could say, $11.50, that, that's fine, but you don't want to put in 11, like with a $, just $11 is fine. You'll select which type of employment it is. So in this case, we'll say technical sales, or, well, service occupation. So the dot code, this is something that you have to just kind of Google to figure out. As indicated here, Google a dot code to find something similar to the job title. And then what you want to do is enter only the first six digits. And so, for example, like right now, if I Google dot code for, as you can see, I've done this for retail manager. So this is what comes up. You don't want to use these 4 digits after the dash. For some reason, the system only wants the first 6 digits. So in this case, I'm going to put in 185.167. So 185.167. So that information is now there. So in terms of selecting an employer from this database, this database is drawing from any employer that has been created across the entire ENDMS JAG network. So all 33 states that have JAG students. So the unfortunate part is that, if your student is employed at McDonald's or Walmart or Sears or whatever it may be, there is not just one employer for Sears. You have to select, so let's say I'm looking at Sears. You will see that there are specific addresses. So if your student is not employed at the Southbridge Street Sears in Auburn, Massachusetts, if you cannot find the specific Sears, in Detroit, Michigan, which can be quite difficult to find in here, then you are going to have to create an employer. Now, this can also be a little bit frustrating, but I have made the tip sheet here to hopefully make this not as frustrating as it could be. So essentially, if you make a mistake when entering this data, the information will disappear and you'll have to start over. But these are what I have learned is the main things that people make mistakes on are these up here, ensuring that your dot code is only these 6 digits in the dot, making sure you don't enter anything extra here, and then what I'm about to tell you. So the first tip is making sure that the name of the business is less than 38 characters, and remember that characters include spaces. So if the name of the business is very long, just abbreviate it in some way so that it's less than 38 characters. So in this case, I'm going to say that I work for, as you can see, I've already entered this information, Edible Arrangements. If you know the store number, go ahead and enter it. The second piece of advice is that the address has, because you are essentially adding this employer to this giant database, the address has to be recognized by the U.S. Postal Service. So what I recommend doing if you are getting error codes is going to the USPS address and looking up to determine the formal address that might need to be used. If you're getting error messages. So I'm going to enter the street address, which is 6749 Southwest Midge Avenue. So I believe that what's happening is I've already entered this, so it's pulling it up, it's recognizing it, which is kind of cool that the system does that. But I just want to kind of go through and show you what you're going to do here. Let's actually see, I'll be interested to see what happens if I enter an employer that already is in the database. So we've got the phone number. And so for size, I will just make a reasonable guess here for size. Edible Arrangements is a national employer. That would be like Walmart, McDonald's, something that's franchised. Regional could be something, like a Meijer. So that's something that that is, across the state. I'm trying to think of another example of something that's a statewide employer, and then local would just be, like a locally owned business. So an NAICS code, this down here will automatically populate once you select something from up here. So that automatically populates. You have to enter something here for employer contact. So if you do not know the name of the manager of your student, you can just simply put in management and then put in the best phone number that you know, and later on come back and update it. But it is important that you have some form of contact. Well, first of all, the system won't let you save if you don't put anything in, and you'll lose your information. Second of all, you need to have some form of contact for a couple of different reasons. One would be for follow-up. We do like to have at some point a confirmation with the employer that the student is actually employed there. The second reason would be I was just writing a report for one of our funders and needed to contact Walmart managers to discuss some of our students who worked for Walmart. So it is actually important to have contact information in there. So then you're going to click Save. And so in this case, it just says data saved successfully because I was very detailed in making sure that all of this was as detailed as possible. It recognized the street address as a accurate address, and so that is how you have a job placement. So now when you come to the Jobs tab, this will pop up there. and you can go in to edit it if needed. It will pull up here. So for example, if the person's if their position changes, you can click date changed and you can come in and change what their wage is, or if they change the number of hours. If they have a second job, you can come in and add it, and then you would come down and save that. Generally, you don't really want to delete a job. You could, I guess, the termination date, you could put in here when they stop working there, and the reason for, if they quit or start school or are fired or laid off and whatnot. So you could add that information. And so that is how you add job placements.